Welcome to the Gray Area. Right here, Kevin Gray, 105.3 The Fan. Appreciate everyone subscribing to my YouTube channel at Kevin Gray Sports. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, also at Kevin Gray Sports. The Dallas Mavericks finally get off the schneid after losing 3 consecutive games for the first time since the spring of 2019. They get a 124-112 win over the Indiana Pacers. Luka Doncic goes for a triple-double to get the Mavs back at 500 at 7-7. Luka Doncic 13 points, 12 assists, 12 rebounds in this game against the Indiana Pacers. Kristaps Porzingis, spectacular night, going 12 of 15 for 27 points on his own, had another 13 rebounds and also 4 assists. Tim Hardaway Jr. got himself back together in 34 minutes of play, scoring 19 points, a plus 15 for him, also having a big fourth quarter. A lot of guys had a lot of contributions in this win over the Indiana Pacers. You saw 6 guys in double figures for the Dallas Mavericks, as also Willie Cauley-Stein chipped in with 10 points and got the new Defensive Player of the Game championship belt, which Rick Carlisle talked about post-game. And Tim and Trey Burke also went for 32 minutes, going 9 of 16 with 22 points of his own, going 4 of 8 from the three-point line. This is a team that didn't shoot the ball well from the three-point line, only shooting 29%, but did shoot 53% from the field overall. And what you liked about this game was the adjustments that Luka Doncic was making as far as the defenses that he was facing. He was facing another set of junk defenses, boxing ones, double teams, triple teams. But you saw in this game the ability to find the open man and to do so with some spectacular cross-court passes and the ability to use his court vision to use guys that were wide open to get easy buckets, and also guys were knocking down shots on those passing opportunities created by Luka Doncic. I asked Luka after the game about him facing these defenses and the adjustments that he's making to the defense that he's seeing. Here's what he had to say after the game against the Pacers. Hey, Luka, obviously tonight had 11 assists. Can you talk about the adjustments that you had to make personally, obviously seeing the different coverages as far as defense is concerned and being able to get your teammates involved? How important is that for you to make those adjustments on the fly there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not everything about scoring. They were, like I said, double teaming every time or playing box and one. So a lot of players were open. I don't think it's just the assist. It's always, there's sometimes, a lot of times, an extra pass, and it's not always the assist. So we just play out of there. It's probably easier basketball, more space, and just play 4-on-4.
So Luka Doncic understanding the importance of making adjustments on the fly and being able to do so in a way that not only created open opportunities for his teammates, but also allowed the game to come to him. This isn't a game where Luka Doncic scored a lot, but he did a lot more facilitating and doing the other things, the little things, to help a shorthanded Mavs team win a basketball game that it desperately needed to do so on the road in front of 1,000 fans inside of the Indiana Pacers arena tonight. But as you saw for the Kristaps Porzingis scoring binge that he had tonight, a lot of that was facilitated off of Luka Doncic's offense. You saw the two-man game between Kristaps and Luka working extremely well, with a bunch of buckets coming inside on dunks and on layups for Kristaps Porzingis, set up by the facilitation and the vision of Luka Doncic. Kristaps Porzingis played his best game of the season, only missing 3 shots from the field. He also went 1 of 3 from the three-point line, but also had a season-high 13 rebounds. And when you're getting this kind of two-man game where you saw Kristaps Porzingis back at the 5 position, the spacing on the floor has opened up quite a bit for this basketball team. And Josh Green, who got the start tonight, playing at the 4 and allowing Kristaps Porzingis to play at the 5, you saw how the wide open spaces became much more vast for Luka Doncic to find teammates in passing lanes, being able to hit Willie Cauley-Stein for buckets, hitting Kristaps Porzingis and other guys who were cutting to the basket, making life easier for Luka to find them, especially when he's getting double and triple team. Some of the cross-court passes and the passes that he made to teammates that were just utterly astounding just shows you the kind of creativity that Luka Doncic has as far as his offensive game is concerned. And more importantly, you're seeing kind of a shift in Luka and how he's approaching these basketball games, especially with shorthanded a Mavs team the way that they are right now. Again, no Dorian Finney-Smith, no Josh Richardson, no Dwight Powell, no Maxi Kleber. You did see, obviously, Jalen Brunson, who played well in this game also against the Indiana Pacers. And the theme of this game was the contributions from a lot of different guys in a lot of different ways. You saw Josh Green with his energy and his ability to cut. You saw Kristaps Porzingis and his ability to go to the basket to be able to get offense facilitated off of Luka Doncic. You saw the Swiss Army knife, and James Johnson in 26 minutes was a +6 himself. You saw the outside shooting of Trey Burke and his ability to be able to fill it up from the outside, facilitated off of his defense. And I asked Coach Rick Carlisle after the game also about how this two-man game between Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic was working. Here's what Rick Carlisle had to say after the game about what he saw for this offense, especially knowing that Miles Turner was out for the Indiana Pacers. Here's what he had to say.
Hey, good evening, Coach. This seemed like the two-man game between Luka and KP was working really well. Was there a concerted effort to get Kristaps cutting to the basket, especially knowing that Turner was out, to get us some easy looks and some easy buckets tonight?
Yeah, we want to get KP moving toward the basket on productive routes as often as we can. With their team being small and them being in a lot of zone looks, sometimes they were just cuts, sometimes they were screens and rolls, sometimes they were slips. But he did a great job of mixing rolls and pops. And, it was really a well-balanced game offensively.
So Rick Carlisle understanding and seeing what was happening on the floor, obviously knowing that Miles Turner was not going to be in this game for the Indiana Pacers, a guy who leads the NBA in block shots right now. The amount of paint space that was open because of the lack of rim protection due to Miles Turner being out opened up a lot of different lanes for Kristaps Porzingis to exploit, to be able to get inside and get easy buckets all night long. This is a team that scored 124 points, and you could tell that offense was coming easy to them by the ways that Luka Doncic was facilitating offense. And that's important because as Luka Doncic continues to see these junk defenses, the box and ones, the doubles, and the triple teams, it's going to be important for him to continue to make the kinds of adjustments that he needs to on the fly so that his teammates can continue to get easy shots, especially when they're cutting. At one point, Kristaps Porzingis got 15 of his points off of assists, and that was due to his ability to recognize what defenses were doing to Luka Doncic, moving without the basketball and being able to get to the basket for easy buckets. As we mentioned, Tim Hardaway Jr. got off this night after a 0 for 12 performance against the Toronto Raptors, played 34 minutes and went 6 of 13 from the field, was a +15, and had 19 points. I asked Tim Hardaway about being a confident shooter and remaining to have confidence despite the poor performance that he had against the Toronto Raptors. Here's what he had to say after the game was over with about his performance.
Hey, Tim, good evening. Can you take us inside the mind and the confidence of a shooter? I obviously struggled the last game against the Raptors, but come back tonight with a good performance. Can you take us inside the mind of a confident shooter and why it's important to maintain that confidence as a shooter?
I think it's just, first and foremost, it starts with your teammates. Them encouraging you to keep on shooting. This is what you're on the team for. You're here to have a spark on the team, to knock down shots when you're open. And I was just trying to do the best I could out there to just compete on both ends of the floor, try to get stops, try to just find a way just to get myself going. And once Trill came and set that ball screen for me, and I rose up, and the ball took a lucky bounce on the rim, and it dropped in. I felt really good after that. So it starts with my teammates and the coaching staff, and they just keep that instilled in my mind the whole time.
So Tim Hardaway has the mind and the confidence of a shooter, not getting down on himself, and more importantly, understanding that his teammates will continue to instill confidence in him to continue to take shots because they know what kind of player that he is. You saw as he continued to get rhythm throughout this basketball game, he started getting more aggressive, driving and penetrating in the paint, and also had a slam dunk on a dribble drive of his own. And that's when Tim Hardaway is at his best. When he sees that first shot go down, the confidence continues to go sky high for him, and he gets that much more aggressive to provide not only the shooting from the outside, but his ability at times to drive the paint and be able to create his own offense. As we know, Luka Doncic is the only one that can create and facilitate his own offense to go get his own bucket. But on this night against the Indiana Pacers, his teammates were able to come through for him and being able to hit and knock down open jump shots, and more importantly, move without the basketball. And this is when this team is at its best, a team that had 32 assists on the night, when they are moving and sharing the basketball, moving the ball from side to side, letting the ball do the work for them. That's when this team is at their best. And you're seeing Luka Doncic slow the game down and play at his pace, controlling the offense and recognizing what defenses are trying to do against him and making those adjustments so that his teammates can get the easiest buckets that they can. Since most of his teammates can't facilitate their own offense, the onus is on Luka to be able to facilitate the offense for everyone else. And you saw that come to fruition for a lot of guys being able to hit shots when they were wide open, but more importantly, moving without the basketball. And defensively, this team, yes, gave up 112 points, but as you saw in the fourth quarter with Kristaps and Willie Cauley-Stein, who played a really good game defensively, this team, when they're able to turn defense into offense and string together some stops, this is a team that once their offense continues to come around on a more consistent pace, they're going to give teams problems in the Western Conference. But more importantly, this was a confidence game for the Dallas Mavericks that they had to have as they get ready to take on the San Antonio Spurs and also the Houston Rockets. This team needed a win and needed one badly. And Rick Carlisle even talked about the idea that this team had lost 3 games in a row and what that meant and why they needed to get themselves a win, not just for their own ability to get another win in the win column, but their own psyche to understand that this is still a good basketball team. And when they're clicking on all cylinders, especially once they get their guys back, this is going to be a team that can compete for a potentially top 4 seed in the Western Conference, but hadn't shown that in the last 3 games, especially with the blowouts that you saw against the Toronto Raptors and the Chicago Bulls. Yes, they had a close loss to the Milwaukee Bucks in a competitive basketball game. And in this game against the Pacers, a competitive back and forth in game also between these two teams. Malcolm Brogdon especially started to heat up from the three-point line in the third quarter to get them back into the basketball game. But Jalen Brunson being able to give them the lead after the third quarter was over with was key. And then starting out in the fourth quarter, being able to get them in some good momentum with some quick points of his own. So a lot of folks contributed to a very nice win on the road against an Indiana Pacers team that features a guy in Domantas Sabonis who's a double-double machine and one of the best young players in the NBA, continuing to grow at this Indiana Pacer basketball team. But this Dallas Mavericks team overcame the junk defenses, got a lot of guys contributing, shared the basketball, and more importantly, Luka Doncic adjusting to the defenses that he's seeing to facilitate offense for easy buckets for his teammates is going to be extremely important going forward, because this isn't going to stop with respect to what Luka Doncic is going to see from a defensive perspective. So we will see how this continues to move forward for the Dallas Mavericks. But for now, they get a 124-112 win to even their record at 7-7 on the season. They get ready to take on the San Antonio Spurs and then the Houston Rockets. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel also at Kevin Gray Sports. We'll talk to you later. Peace.